relevant, reliable, and researched. This is Experts on Call, the show focused on delivering leading-edge news and information on today's most beneficial products and services. This is Experts on Call on AM 650.
Welcome back to the program. We're talking about your home, and in particular, the roof over top of your home, and we're talking about protecting your investment with a couple of very qualified guests. Sean Lang is president of Interprovincial Roof Consultants, and we are joined in studio by Ivan von Spronsen, the executive director of the Roofing Contractors Association of British Columbia. A couple of power shooters here in the studio today to talk about roofing. And Ivan, just before we took the break, you were talking about inspectors. And, of course, that's a big part of what Sean's company, Interprovincial Roof Consultants, does, even though you insist on calling yourself a registered roof observer, just to keep us all slightly confused. Nonetheless, you do that sort of work, and it's a very integral part of what the Roofing Contractors Association offers British Columbians.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it really is crucial to talk about that because, you know, you can have, in order for it to have a successful project, and this is not a roofing project, this is any kind of a project that you do. First of all, you have to have a clear understanding of what it is you want your contractor to do.
Right.
And for that, you need two things. You need specifications and you need standards. And roof consultants, our accepted consultants particularly, are going to have a very clear understanding of what the specifications are. Those are the details on how things are put together that are applied to the specific project.
And you would agree with me that in the case of 99.99% of homeowners know absolutely sweet zip about roofs.
Well, that's...
Period.
You know, I don't want to denigrate...
We don't know a damn thing about roofs, do we? Except we have one, and when it leaks, by gosh, we know a lot about it, and then we're running for the yellow pages doing all the wrong things in the wrong order. But most folks just don't know anything about roofs.
For sure, and there's a lot of wrong ways to do it, and there's only a few right ways to do it.
Right, so all the more reason when you get that project and you know something needs to be done, you got to be organized from the get-go, and if you don't know what you're talking about, you need a pro like Sean.
Yeah, it's very helpful. There's no question. And beyond the specifications, there also has to be standards, and that's the thing that I think is and standards are the overall overarching processes around the general industry understanding of how things work. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily geared to that specific project. That's the consultant or the contractor's thing is to apply the standards appropriately to that thing. But there's a baseline understanding of what materials function, how they work together, how they tie into wall systems, how the perimeters are done, how the drains work, all the myriad of little details that are so crucial, because at the end of the day, we always say that, you know, a roof that's 99% effective is basically 100% failure. You know, there are certain things in life where, you know, you need a high standard of performance, and waterproofing is one of them.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's...
1% will leak.
One drop will just drive you crazy, and all of a sudden, no matter how much you spent, wait a second, it's leaking. It's not, right? I got ripped off.
Well, and I think, you know, like I say, our inspector consultant people that you know we have accepted into our program, and that's a rigorous process as well.
I can imagine, yeah.
You know, again, there's an application process, and we want to make sure that the people that are doing this inspection are qualified, and so and it's not only the firms, but each individual inspector also has to pass a very rigorous series of exams and has to be accepted and be you know, passed by.
And interesting, even though you pass them and give them the thumbs up or down, then they go off to work for independent private companies. They don't work for the contractor.
Basically, we have to, our company is independent of the Roofing Contractors Association, but we have to fit into the standards that they require of an inspector.
Right.
So all of us, me and all the guys in our firm, have to meet those standards that the Roofing Contractors Association is requiring out of an inspection firm, and we do. So that's great. But if we didn't, we wouldn't be allowed to inspect the work that falls under their guarantee program.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. And it is really, really important the role that they play in terms of ensuring that what's happening out in the field is exactly what the owner had paid for is a real crucial role to become the eyes of it.
We talked about WorkSafe. I mean, safety standards. I mean, it seems that it would be obviously they're going to be at play in any work site, but not necessarily.
No, and in all fairness, it's not something that we would necessarily put that on the roof consultant. Some are involved in that, but it's usually not.
Oh, is that right?
No. Yeah, the safety standards.
But if you climb up on a roof, Sean, and you can see some really unsafe behavior going on, you got to say something, right?
Well, I might say something to the roofer. I might say something to the foreman. But I certainly wouldn't be writing it in a report. It's not my job to go up and comment on the safety standards. I'm not responsible for their safety. They're responsible for their own safety.
Okay.
Usually but the expectation is obviously that they have to meet.
Yeah, there's an expectation there, and obviously I'm going to start, making some phone calls if I see some unsafe practices.
Sure.
But really, we pay attention to our safety in regards to that roof system. So if we can't access a roof because the ladder is not set up properly, it's not tied off, it's not safe to get up there, we'll be making some phone calls and writing up a report regarding that. But it's not a consultant's mandate to deal with the safety of a roofing contractor.
Okay.
They have to manage that on their own. That's an important designation.
Okay, and now from the consumer, the person in the middle of all of this, how, Ivan, do we conduct ourselves so that we're always protected in some way so that we don't end up with that liability exposure that we talked about last time?
Well, I think, for sure that's when you really want to be careful in your selection of who you use as a contractor and ultimately who you use as a consultant. And not every project has a consultant. There are situations where people have had relationships or recommendations from contractors that maybe they're comfortable to just deal with a single contractor, and certainly not saying that that's wrong. But if you are in a situation where you don't have that and you want to have the greatest chance of having a very successful roofing project at good cost, at fair market cost, and also that your interests are being looked after, a consultant is a really good way to go.
Does the association encourage people? Remember I said the Google search, there's the well, call those guys. They'll know. They're the roofing association. They'll know who we should call. So do you refer people on the phone when they cold call you for this kind of information? Do you refer them to consultants like Sean at Interprovincial Roof Consultants?
Yeah, it obviously depends on the question, and there's sometimes we can answer, basic questions without having to get there. But very quickly these things devolve into, well, I don't really know and I don't understand, and this is a problem that I've had.
I get that part.
And at that point, we're gonna recommend that they get some independent oversight, and I think it's extremely good value.
And Sean, flip the coin. Do people call you out there in Cloverdale going, okay, I heard you on the radio. I have a roof thing. I don't know a blessed thing about roofing. I'm gonna just put myself in your hands. Does that happen?
Oh, all the time, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we do the same where we refer people to the RCABC when they have issues with contractors. For instance, if they were having a difficulty with a member contractor, we would refer that they call the RCABC and report to them what they're experiencing with that member contractor.
Right.
And that way there can be a sort of a disciplinary action undertaken by the RCABC with that member contractor. And this, again, is one of the advantages of having your roof project undertaken by a member contractor, because there is actually a big brother watching over the actions and the ethics of that contractor.
I don't know if I like that term particularly, but it makes it sound kind of Orwellian, but nonetheless.
Yeah. We talked about, warranties and guarantees, and now this is a roofing contracting association thing that you do province-wide. What sort of, is there such a thing as a standard contract with a standard warranty, Ivan, and what does that look like?
Yeah, good question. Really glad you brought it up. So, virtually every roof is going to have a warranty, and so at the end of any roofing project, there's going to be something that's going to call itself a warranty, guarantee, something or other, and they can follow into several classifications. One is just a contractor warranty. So this is I, blank roofing, guarantee this roof for blank amount of years. Frankly, that is essentially worthless document, or very, very limited value. Its enforceability is negligible, and its value is really of very limited value. Okay,
so we need to look for something a little more sophisticated. Again, I'm the homeowner who doesn't want to get ripped off. Carry on, please.
Right. So the next level, and there's value in it, is when a manufacturer gets involved. So when a contractor supplies a manufacturer's guarantee, there absolutely is some value to that, because manufacturers manufacturers, if it's an established manufacturer that's been around for a while, they'll put a guarantee in conjunction with the roofer, and
so whatever type of, well, maybe it's a type of shingles or whatever, that manufacturer guarantees those for 20 years or whatever.
Yeah, for various terms and whatnot. However, I think it's important to note that there are some significant limitations around that, because just because you have a guarantee, first of all, doesn't mean that the roof was installed to the correct standards, that all those standards were actually maintained. You assume that's the case.
That's the first challenge that you're going to have if you have what you think is a warranty complaint or claim. They're going to come right back at you with, was your roof properly installed?
And it's the first thing they look for.
And then they're going to probably ask you to prove it.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you go about that?
Well, that's the thing.
If you're a consumer who knows nothing about roofing,
you don't have that.
Well, that's where we get called.
Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the third thing is our CABC has for over 40 years now come up with an independent guarantee program, which is a true third-party guarantee that does involve the contractor, it does involve the manufacturer, but it involves a third party, which is the Roofing Contractors Association, is BC. And so we actually stand as an independent guarantor outside of those other parties. So if those parties don't come to the table regardless, your roof is still covered by the association itself, and we have funds in place to back that up.
Okay, Sean, help me frame what Ivan has just said in the form of a question that I can ask as a consumer, so that, again, I'm protecting myself.
Well, there's a couple things I want to talk about here. One is I tend to disagree a little bit with one of Ivan's statements there, where the roofing contractor's corporate warranty does have value. For instance, I've been involved in many situations where the roofing contractor, when it's not a guaranteed RCABC job, has put their 5-year or 10-year corporate warranty on a project. Mm-hmm. And because we're involved with that roofing contractor on a regular basis, when there's a claim against their warranty, the corporate warranty, there's action actually taken on their part.
Right.
If we weren't involved and it was directly between the client and the roofing contractor, as Ivan says, there may not be a lot of value to that paper.
But because you're on the job.
Because there's a third party involved, there is value there.
Sure.
And actually, we do get results out of that. But a person, when they're investigating their roofing project and they want to know, they should look into the manufacturer's warranties and see which particular manufacturer is going to provide them with the longest term, the best coverage, the least amount of fine print in order to qualify for a claim against the warranty. Also, whether or not they want to have that extra third-party guarantee that the RCABC provides, which has a lot of value if the roofing contractor that did the work actually goes out of business or misperforms and doesn't follow up on their work. For instance, if contractor X put the roof on, nobody brought us in to deal with an issue when there was an issue. The owner could then go to the RCABC and file a claim with the RCABC, and the RCABC can get action out of that contractor or issue another member contractor to resolve the issue and then deal with the original contractor on another separate way.
Okay.
So the client is well taken care of in that sense.
Okay, some protections that we need to know about as we talk about roofing. Our guests are Ivan van Spronsen, Executive Director of the Roofing Contractors Association of British Columbia. Also in studio, Sean Lang, President of Interprovincial Roof Consultants, and we're back with more right after this.
Delivering relevant and beneficial consumer information. This is Experts on Call, and there's more still ahead on AM 650.